Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly watch list where we go over the levels we're looking at for the week as well as the news and current earnings report for the week. So jumping right into the news here, first off, going into Monday, we have FOMC member Logan speaks at 8:55 a.m. and then CB leading index at 10 a.m. Tuesday, we have at 10 a.m. FOMC member Harker speaks along with Richmond Manufacturing Index as well. Wednesday, we have not a whole lot of news. 10:30, we got crude oil investors, and then 12 p.m., which we're already gone by then, we have FOMC member Barkin speaks. Going into Thursday, again, not a huge amount. Probably the biggest news for the week for this day, but it's going to be 8:30 a.m. 8:45. We have unemployment claims at FOMC member Hammock speaks, and then we also have at 9:45 we have flash manufacturing PMI and flash services PMI, and then new home sales at 10 a.m. So it's going to be our biggest news for the week. And then going into Friday, we also have core durable goods orders and durable goods orders at 8:30 a.m. And then at 10 a.m. we have revised UOM consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. So not a crazy news week, but Thursday, Friday, definitely going to be more than usual. Going into this week with earnings reports, nothing too crazy, but we do have some things to be making note of here. Core ones we're going to look at, we were looking at in the past was Enphase. Not really a whole lot going on with that. Boeing, going to be something to keep an eye on for sure. We do watch that quite often with how that stock moves. And we do have a kind of a side watch list. It's just not on this watch list video. Not worth really making note of. And then that's really about it. We have a lot of earnings this week. We're starting to go into tech earnings, I believe, are either next week or the week after. So, we have some significant things coming up. Tesla's one of those huge ones we have this week to keep an eye on for sure. This is typically when Tesla sells off. Every earnings, it always fails to hit expectations, and I don't expect it to do anything other than that again. Like it always does. We just had the Cybertruck release. I'm already expecting that to not have hit sales as expected. The taxi, of course, the news. So looking for this share to play downside for sure. 215 is the setup that I have there. I don't have this in the watch list, but it is definitely a side watch to be aware of at 215. Going into the watch list here, ES, let's start with ES and NQ, the markets here. Nothing too significant here. We do have 59.27 as a high. We've just been breaking highs lately, going to these levels here. Aside from that, we still are kind of maintaining that general uptrend we were following there on the 4-hour, that channel kind of development we were talking about last video. So nothing too significant, just some high breaks. We're doing basically an ascending pennant consolidation break here. So just something to be aware of. This is looking at upside sentiment this week, but we could see an all-time high rejection. It just kind of depends on what it does, because obviously NQ isn't really following ES too heavily these days. Hasn't been for a while, because as we can see here on NQ, we're sticking to pretty tight consolidation range here. We're not hitting the all-time highs like we are in ES. We're kind of just sticking to that upside sentiment. Now we are approaching, of course, and we are kind of developing here. As you can see, a bit of an upside ascending pennant development, but aside from that, nothing too significant going on in this area. What the core levels we're going to be looking at this week are definitely going to be here at our current recent high. We have 20,680, and then we also have 20,594 or 20,000, if you want to say 20,600 pretty much. Those are going to be our kind of key levels of resistance. We also do have a recent supply zone is here developed, as you can see, with this consolidation area as well, to be aware of a rejection here, so something to be aware of there, and just keep an eye out for, right? We do have that descending trend line here. We have a downward trend line here, something to be aware of as well. But overall, the sentiment here, if we can crack these levels, we're going to see some pretty good upside, and I think we're going to break a recent high from the last 2 weeks, and definitely see some upside continuation here, especially with the sentiment of ES as well. So going into the actual watch list here, we have 4 stocks this week: AMD, Meta, Netflix, and Nvidia. And then I have a side watch of Apple as well. Apple is just a little bit of a side watch because of the how far it is away, but it seems to be approaching pretty quick, so I might just put that in with all of our mains. So we got 5 mains this week. So what we're going to do actually is start with Apple, because it is a little far, but it is still going to be a look at come Monday. I'm looking at the 237.50 level here at the recent high. We talked about this in stock hours here at the Saturday lesson. I put my whole watch list in there for anybody in stock hours to take a look at. We're looking at the 237.50 area, looking at this recent high as potential entry, and then targeting 238 here. That's going to give a pretty good risk to reward, a 2-to-1 to 3-to-1 range. If we can see a break above 238 and see some nice continuation, then this is definitely more of a 3-to-1, 4-to-1 risk to reward. We're looking at a 5% stop to 15 to 20% return here at this trade. If anything, even more than that on the return. So that's going to be the setup there. Entry, like I said, 237.20. Let's go into AMD here. AMD, I'm looking at this downside here. Really looks clean at this flat bottom development. At the 155 area is going to be the key level, or the key psychological level, if you will. Our actual level is really going to be at 155.50, 155.60. We have a pretty good safe range to take at with the low density on the volume. You can see here, this is getting to be more of a volume dense area. It's not really a green flag, if anything, a red flag. When we go to the 154, it kind of really drops off there. So the safer entry would be more so like close to 154, but really the low here is kind of the great target setup here. And, looking to get in here really just kind of depends on how we approach. 155.50 potentially, but I need to see some heavy divergence and some real weakness against the market to really justify this setup. AMD loves to reject a lot. It needs to really have some notable divergence with the market and really see some immense selling pressure in order to justify taking a trade on this. Because otherwise, it's just going to reject and it's going to be an immediate stop out. This company does it time and time again. It did it a lot last week, and you can see the wicks on this just kind of showcase that need for momentum and some serious divergence to justify a position on this, because it loves to do that. And this is going to be a scalp. This is not going to be a hold. 155, I'll be selling at the level because of what it does and how it moves, right? Going into the next main watch, we're going to be looking at Meta this week, downside. We're coming off highs here, seeing a sharp rejection. This is typically what happens once you come off a big run up. Looking at the 575 level here, 574 is safer for sure at that low, but we do have that 4 hour, I think it's a 1 hour and 4 hour trend really here at these two low points. Now it's just a 2-point trend, so it's nothing really significant too much, and it's pretty far away from our area, but it's something to just kind of still be aware of, right? So looking at 575 really as the primary level to target here. To me, this may even structure up by come Monday at around 574 here at this low. I'll probably be considering that as the actual trade there at 574. Now, what I have as a target here, there's really a lot of room here. As you can see, we don't really have too much of a range of resistance or support here. If anything, we could say over at this this high here, we got a pretty decent amount of support there, what have you. We could say that could be an area, but other than that, this is a lot of room to grow here, a lot of room to fall rather, so that's somewhere to go for and to keep in mind. So really, target here, I usually only base it off of price action. I give it what the moves, a typical solid move is going to be. So on Meta, this would be about $1 to $3. So if I'm going to target anything, I'm probably not going to hold too heavily long on this. I would probably say 573 would be a solid target on this, 572 max. Because of this, the way Meta moves and how much of a dollar move that is relative to what it usually likes to do on a solid move. I'm not going to be basing it to structure all the way down to like 570, for instance, because my risk to reward is still in check if I do it that way, where I only structure for $1 move or $2 move, because I only probably have a 40 to 60, 70 cent stop loss on it, right? Netflix is the next watch. This is going to be probably one of my primary watches going into Monday here. I'm looking at it at the 570 level, okay? 770 is going to be pretty much just a key psychological level more than anything. It's not going to be, a significant key level, so to speak, because we are at all-time highs. But you can see the immense strength off earnings. Obviously, did a very good job this year, and is constantly rallying. So I'm going to be looking at the psychological level, the whole number to 770. We have the pre-market high here, obviously, where that's our peak right now. This company doesn't typically move a whole lot during the weekends or what have you. It doesn't tie in with ES or NQ a whole lot. So really hoping to see this doesn't kind of break 770 come pre-market open. If it does, then it's going to be a reassessment to see, is it worth taking it at like the next real solid key psych levels like 775 or 780. Kind of assess is it still in a proper structured format to where it's worth taking risk on this, especially with the wide spreads and low volume Netflix very typically possesses, right? So that's going to be Netflix this week, really just 770 as the target, or the primary level. And then we're going to be looking at NVIDIA. NVIDIA actually looking at 141, not a bad setup here by any means. It's pretty solid. We're coming in a new price range. You can see with our our volume profile having pretty low density price volume. We're actually approaching all-time high off new NVIDIA, of course. So this is actually looking pretty clean. I really like the fact that this all-time high break is approaching with a setup rather than just breaking a high. And that really gives it some serious credibility and validity to being a fine quality setup here coming into this week. Now, I have said in previous watch lists, I don't like how NVIDIA's been moving, but recently it's definitely kind of been moving a bit better and had some continuations in the last week alone. And so what I'm going to be looking, though, is I'm going to be very particular with how this company and how I take this sets up. I'm going to need some serious amount of strength. And if anything, the way this company does do, it still does rejections. I'll probably be looking to scalp if we get a momentum move a little bit too soon, meaning if we come up to the 141 area and we get that momentum at 140.20 cents, I'll probably be getting out of the position by 140.80 cents if it's overextended, and then looking to retake it on a second or third or fourth try, because that's what this new NVIDIA really likes to do. It doesn't like to happen a lot these days on those first tries. I give it a couple retests, or one retest at least, to really justify taking that trade and holding to the level and through the level if there's a wall there, which last week, as anybody that's taken it know, especially in stock hours, we had some serious heavy walls there. I believe the heaviest was like 170,000 on the ask on level 2 if you were watching it on Thursday at the 140 level. So pretty significant, to say the least. So that's what we're going to be looking at on that. Overall, that's going to be the whole watch list this week. Not a huge amount, nothing crazy. Just overall, some pretty solid setups going into this week, and just hoping to not see any consolidation or choppiness as the markets like to give us. We've been getting that a lot lately. This last month's really been some of the worst market conditions, in my opinion, we've had all year. And if you're really executing correctly and managing risk and being patient and not just taking every setup that comes, then it sure as heck isn't easy, but you can stay very well green during this time if you manage your risk and emotions and your system correctly, and execute accordingly as a professional should. So, going into this week, keep that in mind, that just because it's a new week doesn't mean that type of structure can't change or will change, though. Vice versa, it's a double-edged sword. So don't think that it will go different, and don't think that it'll stay the same. Just come into the week with an open mind like you always should, and execute accordingly, right? Execute according to your system with emotionlessness. It's time for that. That's the watch list, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Let me know if you liked it. What are some things I should do different? Maybe some things I should implement more, break down levels better, what have you. And I'll make sure to do that. So thanks, guys, and let's kill this week like we always do. Take it easy. Peace.